Chương trình này được bảo trợ bởi
Family Joy, tổ ấm y tế của mọi gia đình, 714 898 0765.
Hi, welcome back to the OC Health and Education Show on Little Saigon TV. We're going to continue our conversation. This is the last segment, Connie, and we want to remind everybody that some of the phone numbers that are available to the community. We talked about 988, which is a mental health hotline, a substance abuse hotline, but also a suicide hotline.
Absolutely.
But locally, we also have the OC Warm Line, which is part of NAMI, which is the, I think, National Alliance for Mental Health. The phone number is 714-991-6412. Again, 714-991-6412. This is a number that I recommend to a lot of my patients because it's a warm line, not the hotline.
Right.
So can you tell the audience what's the difference between a warm line and a hotline?
So the warm line is more of, they're not necessarily, they're trained to talk to you about day-to-day concerns and mini crisis, right?
Okay, mini crisis.
Yeah, like
okay.
You're not going to kill yourself. You're just feeling off, like you're kind of out of sorts and you don't know what to do.
Okay.
And they can direct you, you know, maybe you should be talking to someone, you know, about what's going on in your life. NAMI, National Alliance for the Mentally Ill, offers a number of programs for families that are dealing with members of their family that have a mental illness, and they're an amazing organization. So they offer workshops and classes and support groups on a regular basis and trainings, so they're an excellent resource. And the Warm Line is available in Orange County 24/7.
Yes.
So
and I also know that, you know, Luann used, I mean, I think she still works there, but there's some Vietnamese people there that can speak the language, and I think that's important. They have multiple languages.
Absolutely.
You know, so I think that's a very important part to understand that when you're in crisis, you know, you definitely can call 911. But, you know, the 988 is specifically for suicide and mental health and substance abuse. But the Warm Line is kind of almost like a place where it's an intermediate, where you have someone to talk to, maybe kind of de-escalate the situation, ease you a little bit. I know when we had Luann on the show, she says a lot of people that are in the skilled nursing facility, they would call because they feel lonely. And, you know, I was asking them, I said, is there any limit? And she says, you know, we kind of limit on how many times they can call a day, but they can call every day if they wanted to. And I think that's really nice to hear that, you know, there is someone that's willing to listen. As you were mentioning, that find a therapist that you feel heard.
Yes.
I think that's very important. Thưa quý vị, chừng nào quý vị có khó khăn, có muốn người nói chuyện, có một cái trong quần cam của mình có một số là NAMI, đó là cái kêu là OC Warm Line. Cái đây là cho có một cái người, có người nói tiếng Anh, tiếng Việt Nam, rất nhiều tiếng khác để cho nói chuyện với quý vị lúc mà quý vị càng căng thẳng chút. Số điện thoại đó là 714-991-6412. Một lần nữa 714-991-6412. Chị Luann là chị quên tên Việt Nam, but then chị có làm đó thì chị cũng là một cái người supervisor để giúp cho cộng đồng Việt Nam của mình. Chừng nào mình có cái emergency, gọi là mình cũng được gọi số 911, mà số 988 là một cái số đặc biệt để cho về mình có cái khó khăn về tự tử, hoặc có người trong gia đình mình có cái khó khăn đó, hay chừng nào có cái substance abuse là giống như có xì ke ma tí, mình cần cái hướng dẫn. Số điện thoại 899, đó là cái số điện thoại quý vị cần nên liên lạc. Connie, I just want to say thank you so much for being here, for reminding us about, you know, what your scope of practice is, and for giving me the opportunity also to help people differentiate what we do that are complementary to helping the community. If you were able to talk to somebody today who is perhaps suicidal, who is just very down, what is that one message that you would like to remind them about their worth and our availabilities to be there for them?
So, you know, I'm working with suicidal clients. You know, most of us talk with them about what it is they continue for. Why do they continue to struggle, to stay alive? Having worked with veterans who, you know, easily 22 veterans a day take their lives.
Wow.
And I was going to say that 988 number, if you press 1, that's specifically for veterans.
Oh.
But talking with an individual who is considering taking their lives, and what is it they want to live for, whether it's a child or the hope that things will get better.
Yes.
The crisis comes when there's no longer any hope. That's always the challenge, is when someone loses hope and they can't see that things will get better. There's specific groups that really face that challenge daily.
But you said veterans
22 a day or more.
And I know proportionally it's actually more with males.
Well, that's because the number of people in the military is predominantly males.
Okay.
Right? I mean, we talk about military sexual trauma, and we think about females, but the number of people sexually assaulted in the military is more males, just because of numbers.
Okay.
But if you did it comparison, right?
Yes.
But adolescence is one of the top causes of death in adolescence is suicide.
Yes.
And every year we hear of 2 or 3 kids in South Orange County killing themselves, and we're always shocked.
I know, I read one of my friend's book at Eduardo Lee, who, is part of the franchise for Wahoo's Taco. He wrote a book, and that was about his son's suicide. And I mean, just to hear even our friends in the community having the strength to write a book like that. Absolutely. It was so heart-wrenching to read, but I think it was so brave because now they're trying to prevent that from happening for another adolescent in the community. So I just want to say, Connie, thank you so much for being here. I believe that our time spent together is well worth it because we're going to save at least one life, if not many more. And at least it'll help start a conversation within a family and maybe encourage someone to reach out for help. Once again, thank you, Connie, for being with us. I hope you can come back on our show to talk about many more topics, because, suicide is one thing, but I think as a family and marriage counseling, there's so many more ways you can help the community. So I would love to explore that in the future.
All right. Well, thank you for having me.
Thank you again. Julie, một lần nữa cảm ơn quý vị khán giả của Little Saigon TV đã lắng tai nghe về cái chương trình hôm nay. Chương trình hôm nay để nói về tự tử đó rất là mình thấy là nguy hiểm, mà nhiều người trong cộng đồng Việt Nam của mình không có biết cách làm sao nói chuyện, mình không có biết làm sao mình có người nào liên lạc. So hôm nay hy vọng chương trình sẽ trình bày với quý vị số điện thoại 988, đó là số điện thoại cho mental health, về tự tử về substance abuse. Nhiều lúc thì mấy cái xì ke ma tí nó đi theo về sức khỏe tâm thần, nhiều người mà cờ bạc, hút thuốc, đó là đi theo về nó cái bằng ADHD, mà cũng là không có chữa trị, nó thành cái sức khỏe tâm thần nguy hiểm hơn. Thì Julie cũng hy vọng quý vị để dành thời gian để cho chừng nào mình căng thẳng quá, mình khó khăn, mình thấy cuộc đời hơi khó khăn, thì nghỉ một ngày cho mình khỏe lại, mình tỉnh lại, mình đi làm lại. Với chừng nào quý vị có cái khó khăn gì, chỉ biết là cũng có rất nhiều người thương quý vị. Quý vị nên bắt điện thoại lên. Mỗi người cũng rất là bận rộn, mà cũng sẽ bắt điện thoại, sẽ trả lời, sẽ nghỉ một ngày để dành thời gian cho quý vị, giúp cho quý vị. So Julie hy vọng quý vị rất giữ sức khỏe tâm thần, sức khỏe của gia đình với sức khỏe trong cộng đồng Việt Nam của mình. Cảm ơn quý vị khán giả của Little Saigon TV.